What's up, Saber fans and non-Saber fans? It's your boy Breeze back again. Today's installation is on a Pachstore Unicron. Now the Unicron is Darth Nihilus's lightsaber replica from the Pachstore. Darth Nihilus is one of the more popular Sith Lords and is also known as the Lord of Hunger. And I think it's a really cool replica of his lightsaber. Now this saber was sent in to me by Jamal. I've done a bunch of installations for Jamal, and this one was installed with a Proffie, but let's go ahead and look at the hilt first. So this is my own custom blade plug. Jamal, the one that you sent, the Saber Forge one that you sent, is a little too long with the chassis inside. So I'm gonna go ahead and send this one with it as well. This one has some good shine through. Now, as you guys can see, it's just completely bare aluminum. A lot of people opt to get something like this weathered if they would like, but it's very sleek. Feels good in hand in terms of the grip. Closed off here. It does take a 1-inch blade. A couple of things that I am not a fan of in terms of this hilt is, if you've seen my past videos, you know I'm not a fan of just free floating switch plungers. Here I prefer to have the switch plungers built into the hilt, so you just have, you know, less to worry about, and you don't have to worry about losing one of these if you're not careful. And then the second thing is that in terms of sound venting, this is the only hole where the sound is vented out of, which I think limits it. I kind of wish Pachstore maybe added, you know, a couple little slots here just to have the sound come out more. But Jamal, if you want it to be louder than it is, you can always remove this little bit. It actually makes it a little louder, but then again, you'll have a glaring hole at the bottom if you do something like that. So let's go ahead and take a look at the chassis that was installed in here. You're just gonna remove the pommel cap here, and you'll be able to see the chassis, and it's a fully removable chassis, so it does slide out. I do recommend that when you slide it out, if you look here on the hilt, the 3 holes, these 2 holes act as a chassis retention, and that is your blade retention. So what you are gonna wanna do is have the holes pointed up so you don't lose any of the free floating plunger switches. And then you're just gonna unscrew these. And then the chassis slides right out. So before we dive into the chassis some more, I do want to show you what I mean about the free floating switches. So I'm just going to remove this blade plug. So if you turn the hilt while there's no chassis in it, these switches are just going to fall right out. There you go. That's what I mean about just free floating plungers. Not a huge fan because it just takes a little more time when you want to get your chassis turned on and in and your saber on. But the way to put these switch plungers in, okay, you're gonna turn it like this. So one of the holes is pointed up. You're gonna take one of the plungers, just put it on your finger like this. Guide it in and push it right on into the slot. And once you have it in the slot, keep your finger there, rotate the hilt, so let gravity do its thing, and keep that switch pointed down, and you do the same thing with the second one. Be careful because you could drop it during this point. All right, and then once you have both in there, then the side where you have the retention holes, you can just point that up. That way the switches won't fall out. All right, now let's go ahead and take a look at the installation. It's fully removable chassis. And I custom designed this chassis for this hilt for Jamal. So we have a KR Sabers Lit PCB with long pins. It is a 2-button setup, here and here, installed with a Proffie board, kill switch, 18650 removable battery. This is a 25mm KR Sabers speaker. And then on the chassis, there's a little bit of customization here. On this side in Arabesh, it says the Lord of Hunger. On the other side, it says Darth Nihilus. And then on the back side, vertically, it says Breezy Saber Works for me. All right, let's go ahead and switch her on. So with all of Jamal's installs, he likes to have maybe 1 or 2 sound fonts on the Saber just to stick to canon in terms of the character hilt. So once you turn it on, Jamal, you're gonna take your hilt, be careful not to rotate it so the switches come down, but you wanna make sure that the switches are pressed up against the inner wall. And then you are just going to put the chassis in. You can see that there are tracks here on each side of the switch, as well as a top track. That's where the retention screws go in to retain the chassis inside the hilt. So once you flip it on, it should just guide right on through, and it'll stop you once you get to the top. Now, once you get here, you're okay to invert or rotate the hilt because the switches won't fall out because the chassis and the buttons are in there now. And then you want to tighten your retention screws for the chassis, and you don't want to tighten them too much, okay? You just want to go until you feel a little bit of resistance. That's it, because if you tighten it or if you over tighten it, it's going to compromise your ability to click on the switches, okay? So, and then once you turn it, you can go ahead and test it. So looking at here, this is the top. The right button here is your power. The left button here is your auxiliary. So let's go ahead and test it out. There you go. All right, seems like it's functioning well. Now, if you tightened it too much, you wouldn't be able to get the good feedback from those switches. So you just make sure you don't tighten it too much. And then you're just gonna put the pommel cap right back on. And let's turn it on with the blade plug-in so you can see the shine through. And here's how the Saber sounds because there's not great sound venting. And let me show you with this little bit removed. You see how it's noticeably louder. So that's why I wish there was more sound venting on this hilt. Doesn't take away from the coolness of the hilt and how awesome it looks. But in terms of functionality with electronics install, I wish there was a little bit more sound venting. We do have that gesture control on here for you. Let's go ahead and test this out with the blade. Takes a 1-inch blade. Make sure it makes good contact. Here is your retention screw. And the sound font that we do have on here is the Lord of Hunger, which we purchased from Kyberphonic. right, guys, that's about it. This is a Pachstore Unicron, a Darth Nihilus lightsaber replica sent in to me by Jamal. Jamal, thank you so much for trusting me with yet another one of your sabers from your collection. If you guys are looking for a custom lightsaber installation, a custom Neopixel blade, or a conversion of a Black Series or a master replica, hit me up, check me out. Breezy Saber Works on Facebook, Instagram. Like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Till next time. May the Force be with you. Peace.